John 11:9 through 26. Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in a day? This is rhetorical. If a man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world. He's comparing, and the Bible does this often, as walking in righteousness, as walking in the light. Jesus refers to himself as the light of the world. When you walk in the light, you see things clear. So when we accept Jesus, we see things for what they truly are. We know, and clearly, if we're looking at him, the things that cause us to stumble in darkness are seen. Verse 10. But if a man walk in the night, he stumbles because of the light is not in him. When you're in darkness, you're going to stumble and fall because you can't see. When we're of the world, we can't see the wrong we're doing. Sometimes. All we see is what we want. We shouldn't expect those in darkness to live as if they're in light, because they're not. They're going to stumble. They're fallen. Verse 11. These things he spake he. After this he saith unto them, Our friend Lazarus is fallen asleep, but I go, that I may awake him of his sleep. The Bible often refers to, the Bible often refers to, I'll cover this part because it covers the rest of this. Our friend. Lazarus was close to Jesus. I think Lazarus had the faith, and that's what brought him close to Jesus. He accepted Jesus, who he was, and saw him as Lord. The disciples therefore said unto him, Lord, if he is fallen asleep, he will recover. He will awake. And they're saying, if he's asleep, just let him sleep. He'll come back and he'll wake up. Ain't no being seen because he's sleeping. It makes sense. They weren't getting what he's saying now. Verse 13. Now Jesus had spoken of his death, but they thought he had spake of taking rest and sleep. The Bible. And then Jesus therefore said unto them plainly, Lazarus is dead. The Bible often refers to believers' death as sleep, because life is not absent from them. The life is just absent from the body. And what that means is we have life through Christ. After we part this body, we'll have a heavenly body and live by him. We pass from this life to another, the Bible says. If we have him, we do. So it doesn't refer to it as death, because it's only getting a true life, a life by him. So it refers it to sleep until we wake in a new body. Now, this doesn't necessarily teach soul sleep. That's a debatable issue. It refers to it as sleep, as in a way that we won't see them now, but later. They're not gone. To bring comfort. It's truth. Only those who know him will live again by him. Okay, verse 14 and verse 15. I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, to intent ye may believe. Nevertheless, let us go unto him. Jesus knew exactly what he was going to have to do. Jesus knew this. From the moment he heard Lazarus is sick, come, he knew God's will. Maybe he knew it prior, but he knew this was going to do something. After he raises Lazarus, we'll finish the story today, but after he raises Lazarus from death, everything starts to be rolling. It isn't much longer that he is crucified. Too much time after this. Sometimes the Lord has to do things to show us things that we don't expect. Sometimes he has to use death to show his power. Sometimes he has to use bad instances in our life to show his glory. Sometimes he has to use horrible things to bring miracles out of them. Verse 16. Thomas, therefore, who is called Didymus, this means twin. Thomas also means twin. Thomas was somebody's twin. Said unto his fellow disciples, let us also go that we may die with him. Now, he's speaking, there's two ways to interpret this. He's speaking sarcastically, because Jesus just said, I was not there, so you believe. And he could be sarcastic, well, let us die too. Because it may be a reaction of anger and of sarcasm, because Jesus didn't know who was his friend. He may have been close to Lazarus, and Thomas has as well. It may have been a statement of faith, not true faith, because that's kind of misunderstanding. It may have been over dramatic. He's saying, well, let us die too, that way your power, that way they can believe. He may have been going beyond it, but knowing Thomas' character from a few passages of Scripture, he's mentioned, and I'd have to say he's being sarcastic. Verse 17. So, when Jesus came, he found that he had been in the tomb 4 days already. So he's been dead 4 days already. Going in the tomb with a dead body by Jewish law would make one clean. Coming in contact with the tomb, coming in contact with the dead body would make one unclean. At this point, time of mourning is clearly not over, because there's those associated at the temple, at the tomb. Which, if time of mourning was over, they would have not went back to the tomb, because then they would have been unclean and would have been cut off for a short period of time from everyone. Verse 18. Now Bethany was nigh unto Jerusalem, about 14 furlongs off. Now, because of this, they stopped by Bethany every time they went to Jerusalem. They stopped by and see Lazarus every time every time they went to Jerusalem. This may have been how they became close, because of frequent visits they made at least a couple times a year. Probably more. And many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them concerning their brother. Now, this was common in those days for people to come together. It wasn't just common for the family to mourn at that time. It was common for anybody to come and mourn with them. It was a part of the healing process. They usually had a period of mourning, a week or two, where everybody who just came would be in mourning. Okay. Verse 20. Martha, therefore, when she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him. But Mary still sat in the house. Martha had hope. Martha wanted to know, why didn't you come heal my brother? Why did you let him die? Mary's like, may have been like, our brother's already dead. What can he do now? I don't want to hear his excuses. So that may have been why Mary stayed at the house. Martha wanted an explanation. She knew Jesus had the power. She wanted to hear why. Martha therefore said unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. And this is true. But it was God's will that Jesus not be there. Sometimes we go through sickness. And can God heal us? Yes. Sometimes our family goes through sickness. Can God heal them? Yes. Sometimes God won't. It's not wrong to question God. But the questions we have should never be put in front of God. We should not be, well, if we're willing to serve God, if He heals a certain family member or us in our wellness, we put before God, and that's sin. We should feel blessed whether God heals or He doesn't. Jesus was still Lord, even though her brother died. And she calls Him Lord. She first pays Him respect and questions Him. We should never ask a question out of anger or denying who God is. And she may have been upset. She's probably upset. I would be. But she still knew He was Lord. She still knew He had the answer, even though it may have not been the one she wanted to hear. Martha therefore said unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. And even now I know that whatsoever thou shalt ask of God, God will give thee. So she knew Jesus had power. She may have not known how much power He truly had. Because it's hard to understand somebody doing something that's never been done before, raising a person from the dead. But she knew He had power. Verse 23, Jesus saith unto her, Thy brother shall rise again. All believers are going to rise again, in spirit with a new body. But Lazarus rose physically. Martha said unto Him, I know that he shall rise again in the resurrection at the last day. This is what she's referring to, in the new body. Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth me, though he die, shall live. We die to our old self, to our flesh, and we live in spirit through Christ Jesus. And whosoever liveth and believeth on me shall never die. Believest thou this? This is the essential, the core doctrine, something that we need to accept as believers, something we need to live by, something we need to hold true, something we need to follow. Okay. Proverbs 4. Proverbs 4:4. Okay. He taught me also. He said to me, let your heart retain my words. Keep my commandments and live. We live by faith. And through faith, we keep God's commandments. Lazarus had faith. Martha and Mary had faith. We all are not expected to have the same amount of faith. But faith allows us to keep the commandments. And because we have faith, we live to keep